It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
There should not be a mercy rule in high school basketball. Repeat, there should not be a mercy rule in high school basketball. That is where we start. If you've been following the Section 2 season, we're about a week in. And if you have looked at the box score, you have noticed that the Burnt Hills girls varsity basketball team has lost 2 games by scores of 84-4 and 79-12. 84-4 and 79-12. The Burnt Hills basketball team on the girls' side has been beat first by Shen and last night by Shaker. Now, Brady, I know 84-4 and 79-12. How dare Shen and Shaker run up the score like that? How dare they? There needs to be a mercy rule. That game should end. It is horrible for the players' confidence. The Shen and Shaker are classless. Classless. No. Okay? You can't have a mercy rule. Look, I agree with you. Those scores are egregious. But you cannot have a mercy rule in high school basketball. Because think about this. If your daughter or your son, if it's the boys' game, if your daughter or your son is a member of a team that doesn't play very much, they don't play very much, they don't get in very often, a blowout win is their only chance to see real playing time. And you want to take that away from them by ending the game early? You can't do that. You cannot end the game early. There should not be a mercy rule in high school basketball. If your son or daughter were on the team that was winning and they never play, they never get to play, or they see very, very, very spotty playing time, you can't take away their chance to get in the game. You just can't. I know people will say that it's a lack of sportsmanship by that team. They should implement a 10-pass rule before you can shoot. They should take a shot clock violation. That's the same thing. You're limiting the opportunity that a young player has to finally get in the game and to play. It's like when the quarterback, the football team is blowing somebody out, they bring in the backup quarterback just to kneel the ball. So here's my son or daughter that's going to get a chance to play finally, and the only thing you want them to do is to hold the ball, take a shot clock violation just to limit the final outcome. That's not the right answer either. You have to let these players that don't get to play very often. You have to let them play and actually play. Look, Shaker had 10 scores last night in the box score. Shen had 9 on Tuesday. Shen only had 1 player in double figures on Tuesday in that game that they beat Burnt Hills 84-4. These coaches are doing what they can. Sometimes it is just a case of, wow, these teams are just flat out better, and they are better by a wide margin. They're better by a wide margin. If I'm a coach, I'll tell the team, hey, pull off on the fast break. Let's run a half-court offense. Let's do all this. Let's get a good shot. And then on defense, you don't have to go for the steal, but you're also not going to insult the other team by letting them drive the lane. It's more insulting to have a team let you do things than it is to beat you badly. It's more embarrassing and more insulting, and it stunts your development more to have a team that just lets you part the Red Sea and get to the lane and shoot layup after layup until you make it. That's not the right answer. There should be no mercy rule in high school basketball, and you should not limit the opportunities that players have to play. You cannot limit the opportunities that players have to play. I agree. 84-4 and 79-12, those are bad ways to start your season. Now, Burnt Hills also, it doesn't help that Shen and Shaker are 2 of the top teams in Class AA. Burnt Hills is an A school, so there's a mismatch there right off the rip. But I'm with you. 84-4 is an egregious score. It's probably unnecessary as well. But a mercy rule is not the way to handle this just by ending the game early. There is something that Section 2 can look at, that New York State can look at, that high school basketball across the country can look at. There is a solution, and I will tell you what that is at 9:25. 9:25, I will tell you how you get around these scores without completely limiting what happens in the game and taking away an opportunity that a player who's on the winning team has to actually play when they may not get that chance very often. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. I'm your host, Brady Farkas, and we do this every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. All your local sports, all your New York sports, everything that you care about through 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And on the phone with us right now is Colin Stewart. Colin Stewart, a junior basketball player at Monmouth University, has the Hawks off to a 4-3 start. Tough loss last night at Canisius, but Monmouth has beaten UCLA, USC, and Notre Dame so far this season. 3 big wins for the Hawks. Stewart had 19 points in that win over UCLA. He joins us now. Colin, before we get to on the court happens, your school, your team is getting national recognition for its bench. The bench celebrations that you guys have come up with at Monmouth have been all over the place. We've got them at 1045theteam.com. Where did all that come from?
I don't know. I mean, those guys have a lot of energy, and they really bring energy to our team all the time, and it's great.
How much time in practice for those guys is dedicated to shooting free throws, and how much time is choreographing celebrations?
They spend a lot of time choreographing the celebrations. They have a play card and everything, and I don't know, they just do a great job with it.
Again, you can see those celebrations online at 1045theteam.com. On the phone right now, Colin Stewart with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Stewart, the McKeel Christian graduate, plays basketball right now at Monmouth University. And as I alluded to, Colin, you guys have beaten some big marquee programs early on in the season. What's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been great. We just want to keep winning and keep working hard, and hopefully good things will keep coming to us.
You had your career high in points, 21 last year at the Times Union Center against Siena. What was that like for you to come back home and deliver your best performance to date?
It's always great to play good at home. I don't know, it felt good. It was just another game, and just wanted to keep it rolling.
You had 19 against UCLA this year, that upset win, first game of the season. So you're playing one of the most historic places in college basketball. Did you really realize what you were doing? You're playing the same place as Bill Walton, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Russell Westbrook. Did that cross your mind?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, like when we first got there, but once the game started, it was all about the game. So
you came from McKeel, which is a Class D school. You dominated there. Then you transfer your skill set to the Division I level. And a lot of people will knock kids that come from smaller schools, and they'll say, well, they're used to dominating. They won't be able to do that at D1. What was the transition like from high school to college?
It was tough in the beginning. I redshirted my freshman year, obviously. And if you work hard, you can do anything.
Colin, what led you to go to McKeel? You would have gone to Burnt Hills had you stayed in public school. What led you to play at McKeel?
I went there when I was younger, and I knew all the people, and I had a lot of friends there, and it just seemed like the right idea.
Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. On the phone right now, Colin Stewart, Monmouth University basketball player, McKeel Christian graduate from right here in Section 2, has the Hawks out to a great start this season. Big wins over UCLA, USC, Notre Dame, and locally you'll have a chance to see him play at Siena at the Times Union Center on February 1st. So, Colin, you've got a lot of support back here in Section 2. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to your homecoming on February 1st. Best of luck and continued success. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Colin. Colin Stewart, Monmouth University basketball. Hawks out to a 4-3 start. Tough loss yesterday against Canisius to start MAC play. They'll take on Niagara tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. on the road in Niagara. And that Monmouth team is good. If you're a Siena fan and you're following the MAC closely, that Monmouth team is good. Again, they lose by 10 yesterday against Canisius. But if you've gone on the road and you've won at UCLA and you've won at USC, and then you've beaten Notre Dame, that's something that Jimmy Patsos and the boys will have to pay close attention to. And Colin Stewart, a big reason why, just one of many Section 2 products who are making themselves a name for themselves on the college level. We'll talk to another one at 9:30. Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. RPI hockey, a tough loss last night. They lose to Dartmouth 2-1. And the thing... Now, RPI had an 8-game unbeaten streak, and Then they lost to Harvard in the final of the tournament over Thanksgiving. They lose 4-0. They lose last night 2-1. And what we've done, we've praised RPI for their ability to do the little things well, their ability to block shots. Seth Appert has loved their energy. Well, that didn't happen last night, and that is concerning for the Engineers. Seth Appert after the game.
We were a little flat, energy-wise and competitiveness-wise. And that's what makes our team special. It is that we can roll lines at you, we play hard, and we're tenacious. And, I just didn't feel as much of that tonight.
RPI has been under 500 the last 2 years. If they're going to get over 500, if they're going to stay over 500, they're going to stay over 500 this season. They are right now 8-6 and a couple of ties. Still only one loss now in ECAC play. They can't do that. They can't come out flat. If you're trying to prove a point that you're for real in the ECAC, you can't come out flat, and you can't have that ability. Look, he loves the energy that his multiple lines provide, and they can't afford to come out flat and take nights off. Dartmouth last night, that's a team they should beat. That's a team absolutely that RPI should beat, and now they get Harvard again tonight in conference play after just having lost to them 4-0. RPI won't play a conference game in ECAC play for nearly a month. Until after the holiday break. They won't play, I believe, until it's January 7th in conference again. You really don't want to go in after having played so well for the first part of the season, especially in the league. You don't want to go in having a loss and potentially a second loss. RPI needs at least a point tonight, if not two. It's not must win. They're still good no matter what. But you don't want that bad taste in your mouth for a month. They need to continue to play well in the ECAC. They need to continue to trend upward until their next conference game, which is in nearly a month. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. 9 months ago, this guy was on top of the world in this sport. Now he's struggling. Who is it? You'll find out next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
9 months ago, Albany basketball star Peter Hooley was on the top of the world. He was all over ESPN. Top of the world basketball-wise was all over ESPN. He sends the Danes to the NCAA tournament with a dramatic buzzer beater to beat Stony Brook in the America East Championship. And right now, even though the Danes are 5-3, Peter Hooley has not gotten going. He is struggling mightily from the floor. And right now, we have Albany men's basketball broadcaster Zach By with us. Zach, what are you seeing from Peter Hooley? What's the difference right now in him?
Well, you could see for the season that he was just trying so hard, and you harken back to last year and the type of season that he had, and being named most outstanding player in the conference tournament. And we have to remember he was named the most outstanding player of the conference tournament as a sophomore as well. So you come in here for your senior season, projected first-team All-League. You want to play professionally in Europe. You want to be, an All-League, All-Conference player, and you could just tell he was gripping. I mean, he was making plays for himself, not playing as well as a teammate would play, and the way that we got accustomed to Peter Hooley playing in years past. A little bit self-serving, and then the other side of it is a lot of it was confidence. I mean, he was just not able to, and still hasn't been able to, find his shot. I mean, you haven't seen Peter Hooley make back-to-back baskets this year. I think outside of one occasion, that is hard to understand for a kid who's approaching 1,200 points and is a top 5 scorer in school history by the end of this week. So. He's trying to figure it out, but luckily enough for him, he's got enough supporting cast around him that has been able to, elevate the team on their own without necessarily relying on just Peter to make shots.
At some point, if you're Will Brown, how do you view this? Do you view this as, you know what, Peter's our team leader. He needs to continue to start. He needs to continue to play a lot, and then we'll continue to roll with him and have these other guys fill up the scoring columns until he gets it going? Or is it, you know what, we've got a guy in Joe Cremo who's playing on the bench, who's our sixth man, who's playing better right now? What's that dynamic like for Will Brown?
Well, it's a very interesting one. I think you're raising a question and a scenario that has been kicked around the locker room, that has been kicked around the airwaves, and kicked around the guys in print media. I mean, everyone's sort of talking about that. But here's the thing: Peter Hooley has played games for you, Albany. We are 8 games into this season, and Will Brown, the head coach at UAlbany, has too much loyalty to Hooley over the years. I mean, this is Peter's 5th year on campus, and we're talking about a sample size of about 2.5 to 3 weeks. So it's not hurting them in wins and losses right now. Now, if it got to the point where it legitimately was hurting the team with wins and losses, then I could see them making a move. But I think they're trying to, and when I say they, I mean he, as in Will Brown, is trying to bide enough time and let Peter figure it out. Because, listen, he's struggling, and he's struggling mightily. For Brady, as you mentioned, all his shooting percentage, I mean, the guy was shooting 43% last year. He just broke the 30% variety in his last game. He's shooting 11% from 3. But I think, like I said, just trying to bide enough time where he has that breakout game. Is he going to be today against Holy Cross? Is he going to go for 22? Is he going to go for 24 at the Albany Cup against Siena? You know that it's coming. I mean, like I said, he didn't score 1,200 points by accident. This is a great scorer, a great player who's just sort of in the doldrums right now, for lack of a better term. And I think, again, they're just trying to stay above water long enough. You know, the way I phrased it on the air last week is Joe Cremo has been a life preserver at times, where Albany and Hooley in particular has been looking like they're drowning in the first half, and Cremo gives them that life vest so they can stay above water long enough and make some plays down the stretch to win games. Again, he's going to come out of this. It's just a matter of time, and Will Brown's going to rock with it until, again, it proves otherwise in wins and losses.
Ironically enough, Hooley's still third on the team in scoring at 10.4 points a game, but it is the shooting percentages that are alarming, and the turnovers, as you alluded to. You talked about Cremo, and I'm going to give you a chance here to remind you of what you told me preseason. You said he's going to be a top 5 player in school history by the time this all said and done. He's looked pretty good so far through 8 games. You sticking to that prediction?
Yeah, and I am. And listen, I temper my enthusiasm on the air calling these games, but as I said to you, I said if I was going to pull the curtain back on that enthusiasm, so I don't want to get confused like I'm walking around town telling everyone he's going to be a top 5 player. But the fact is, this is a special player, and I said that to you a couple months ago because of what's inspired by his work ethic through the years and what I've known it to be for about a decade now. And he is lights out, man. I mean, shoot, he's played 8 basketball games at the Division I college level. He's had 6 or more points in 6 of his first 8 games. And it's not just that he's getting a couple buckets here or there. He's doing it efficiently. I mean, the kid's shooting 55% from the field in his first 8 games as a guard. It's unbelievable. And he's also, in 6 of his first 8 games, at least registered a point, a rebound, and an assist. I mean, he's the consummate team player, and it's contagious out there. You saw it in the very first game against Kentucky, the way he was snapping the ball around. And then other guys are going to receive that well, and it will come back around to you like a boomerang, and it has. And that's why his minutes continue to go up. I mean, he was getting, 6, 10, 11 minutes the first 2 or 3 games of the season. And now you look at the last 3 games. I mean, he's been over 20 minutes in each of those games. Career high 18 against NJIT this past week, 11 against Quinnipiac on the road. So you look at double figures in 2 of his last 3 games with the proper minutes. I think those minutes are going to stay right where they are, low 20s to mid-20s. If one of the 3 all-conference guards in Ray Sanders, Evan Singletary, or Peter Hooley are struggling, you're going to see those minutes go even higher.
UAlbany men's basketball broadcaster Zach By with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Dane's on the road at Holy Cross this afternoon, so Zach kind enough to join us live on his way to that game. And Zach, I want to switch up gears on you. We're talking about this about 10 minutes ago, and I'm going to get to it again here right after we're off the phone. But high school basketball starting in the past week, and I don't know if you caught the box score, but the Burnt Hills varsity girls were beaten 84-4 and 79-12 in their first 2 games. And I've already said I am not on board with a mercy rule in which the game just ends, because I believe that the bench players on the winning team who don't get a lot of time, usually they deserve to play and not have their chance to play limited just because of the score that the first unit brought in. What's your thoughts on that, on a mercy rule or on anything like that when you hear a score of that magnitude?
Well, you know what? First of all, this is a question that's been kicked around for decades, because you're always going to have a school like Shen, put a school like Burnt Hills in a headlock for 40 minutes. At least this year they scored a point in the first half. I believe when these two teams played last year, it was a shutout at halftime. So a tip of the cap there to Burnt Hills, I guess, for scoring a point. But this is one of these things I've always thought that in the moment, these games have different feels, and if both coaches can come to a consensus, like if the Shen and Burnt Hills coach meet up at the scores table and they're like, okay, we're both getting nothing out of this, then you should be able to say, okay, stop the fight. That's just my own personality. Some people will sit there and say, hey, you know what? No, you play the game, and this should be a lesson. And then, well, listen, if you're down 76-3, okay, at a certain point, you've had enough. And even in MMA, where you're supposed to punch the other guy in the face as much as you can, if you do it enough, the referee comes in and say, okay, night's over, let's go get you some help. And that was the scenario this past week. So I feel like there should be a provision somewhere that if the coach that's losing is on full board with the coach that's winning, and that they should be able to stop that thing, because that's a bloodbath. That's not right.
Zach Bayou, Albany men's basketball broadcaster, Section 2 product from Scotia in his own right, talking Peter Hooley, Joe Cremo, and then high school basketball. Zach, you're on the road at Holy Cross today. Enjoy the game, and Dane's looking to move to 6-3. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me on. I always appreciate it, Brady.
Absolutely, Zach. We appreciate your time as well. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And so Zach By, his theory is that he thinks there should be a provision in these high school blowouts that says if both teams can come to a consensus that then the game can just end. I'm still not on board with that. And here's my solution. Again, Burnt Hills girls varsity basketball team beaten 84-4 and 79-12 in their first two games. Now, I agree, those scores are egregious, but I am not on board with just ending the game early. If you're on the Shen team or you're on the Shaker team that won those games and you don't get a lot of time, your son or your daughter in this case doesn't get a lot of time, you don't want the game to just end and take away their 1-2 chances they may have to really play all year. Here's what needs to happen. Here's what Section 2 can do. Here's what New York State can do. At some point, and I don't even know what the number is or what the time is, just let the clock run. Running clock all the time. That way, you let the players play the game, but the game's going to go significantly quicker, and you're going to allow these outcomes to be reduced. Okay, and I don't know what it is. Okay, it's a running conversation. Maybe it's 30 points with 5 minutes to play. Maybe it's if you're up 40 at halftime. Maybe it's if at any point in the second half the game gets to be 25 points or more. Whatever. I don't know what the number is. We can have that conversation too. But at some point, the clock just needs to run. That's what it does in AAU basketball when a game is out of hand. That's what it does in AAU basketball when it's out of hand. Why not bring that to the high school game? Now, you're still getting a significant amount of gameplay, but the game doesn't end early. So if you're up 40-0 at halftime and you say, okay, the entire second half the clock's going to run, your second unit isn't going to play the entire second half if you're on this winning team, you get a chance to play the game still. You get a chance to score, to run your offensive sets. But when the ball goes out of bounds, keep the clock running. When you're at the free throw line, keep the clock running. That will end the game earlier without having to end the game, period. That, I believe, that is the best solution when you're talking about these high school basketball blowouts. That is the way that New York State needs to handle this. So no mercy rule. Provision, that's what Zach By says. That says, maybe both coaches come together and they agree, hey, look, enough's enough. Let's just end the game. Maybe, but I still think the best solution to handle these blowout games in basketball is at some point, at some number, at some time, the clock just continues to run. The clock just continues to run. That will allow your players to play the game and not have to insult the losing team by taking shot clock violations, just turning it over, handing it to them, whatever you want to do to make this, quote, more and more fair. This will get rid of those questions. It allows the winning team to play the game, but it also will speed up the process, and it will hopefully limit these totally lopsided scores. All this on the heels of Burnt Hills girls varsity basketball being beaten 84-4 and 79-12 this week. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Mohawk Honda, look, they're always striving to be number one by providing you the most impeccable customer service that you deserve. That's the goal every single time that you walk into Mohawk Honda. And you can ask Mohawk Honda about their Mohawk Honda Exchange program. Talk to any of their Mohawk Exchange specialists. Ask for Tiffany, Katie, or Vide, and they'll tell you all about the program. They will tell you all about the program. Okay? Mohawk Honda, located on Route 50 in Glenville, a convenient location, and they always go out of their way to please you. Look, I know the Capital Region doesn't have a Division I FBS football team to get behind here on Championship Saturday, but we've got two that you should really care about. You'll find out why next.
It's Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Yes, we are back on the phone. Philip Michael Williams, Ballston Spa High School graduate, Michigan State running back. His Spartans will take on Iowa tonight. Big Ten championship game, 8 p.m., Lucas Oil Stadium, Indianapolis. Philip, thanks for being with us. What's the mindset around the Spartans right now?
I feel like we're just ready. We kind of went to Big Ten championships in the past 3 or 5 years, so it's kind of like I'd say a home game, but more of like we just know like that we know what to do. So, we've just been planning for the past, since January for this game. We've got the same mentality for this game since January. Every game, everything in the summer, spring practice, so I feel like, we're just ready to execute.
You had two of maybe the best wins of the entire college football season. First, take me through that final play against Michigan when you guys won on the botched punt return for a touchdown. What was it like watching that?
It was awesome. But the thing is about our team is we actually practice stuff like that. So that's why watching that live and just being there in that play, wasn't really. It was great, don't get me wrong, but it was like everyone on our team, everyone on the sideline, not expecting it to happen, but everyone wouldn't that really have the same reaction everyone else because we practice that. That's the things we do. We don't practice for miracles. We kind of practice all those things, so we were ready for that, and it happened, and we executed. So. It was just awesome. It was awesome, but, it was one of the greatest things I've ever seen, though, for sure.
And then you go into Ohio State, and it feels like the Buckeyes haven't lost a Big Ten game in forever. They have a Heisman Trophy candidate at running back. They've got a great coach in Urban Meyer. You lose your quarterback. You're playing in the driving rain. You win it on a field goal as time runs out. What was that win like?
It was kind of the same situation, It was more like a more toughen up type of game, We knew the whole season, that was going to be a big game. We lost to them last season. They're the national champs. It was more like our own line. They just kind of toughened up, in the rain. It was more like a run dynamic. We ran the ball a lot more. But I feel like we just kind of powered through with just toughness and effort and knowledge. That's what Coach D always talks about, and I feel like it helped us out in the long run.
Philip Michael Williams, Ballston Spa graduate, Michigan State running back with us. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. So you guys are taking on Iowa. The winner of this is headed to the college football playoff. What are the keys for you guys to take down the Hawkeyes?
I think they're kind of like us. They're not going to trick you or anything like that. They're just going to get to the line, punch in the mouth. They're just a really tough team, And I feel like it's going to be a battle like the Lions. So I feel like, whoever just out-strengthens everyone else and just stays disciplined is going to win the game. So hopefully we'll do that.
Iowa is led by running back Jordan Canzeri, who's a Troy High School graduate. Did you play against Canzeri in high school, and what do you see from him on tape here in college?
No, because I think Troy was double A. I think single A all the way up to my senior year, and then he was on the other conference. But me and him ran a couple times against each other in track and stuff like that, and he knows a couple people from my hometown, my Boston spot. So, we know each other. We've actually been talking to each other on Instagram throughout the season. I've been saying, it's good luck. And I kind of actually, earlier the season, said, see you in D, stuff like that. So we've kind of been talking about the game for a minute.
when you first got to college, there was the narrative that the Big Ten was no good and the SEC was great, and now it seems to have switched a little bit. The Big Ten's finally starting to get some respect, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just like the teams up here today, just have great programs, tradition, and coaches. I feel like that just like helps in the long run when you face those other teams in the bowl game and just like throughout the season, because like just the tradition, like amount of coaching, like just the respect, like the fan base we have up here. So I feel like that just helps out in the games.
Philip Michael Williams, Michigan State running back with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. Michigan State taking on Iowa tonight in the Big Ten Championship. Winner will go to the college football playoff. And, Philip, what's this process been like here? We're in year 2 of the college football playoff. Have you guys really concerned yourself with the rankings up to this point?
Not really, because we kind of told ourselves later in the season that if you win the Big Ten, if you win the East, if you win the Big Ten, if you win out the East, pretty much you're going to be in the college playoffs no matter what. So every time, throughout the weekend, sometimes we stumbled and went back to like 9 or 14. We just knew that if we win every single game, if we just keep winning, win out, we're going to be in the playoffs. So that was our mindset, just win it all, take it all. That's what we're trying to do.
And how about for you personally? Last week, you guys blow out Penn State, clinch your division. You get 4 carries, 19 yards. What was that like to be on the field and succeed as well?
It was great. Actually, I have to go with one of the second 2 group or two line or whatever. But it was awesome. Just the stadium was packed more than I thought it was because it was Thanksgiving weekend. But just see everyone there for like my final game, senior. Just really appreciate it. My parents were there too, so that was awesome. That's the first game they see me. And that's my mom see me playing. So I just really appreciate that. And that was the first time she seen me play since like high school. So I just really appreciate that and the whole experience that they let me.
Well, that's a great story, and look, you've got a lot of fans here still back in Section 2, and Section 2 is going to have a big eye on this game as we've got Jordan Canzeri over on the Iowa sideline, we've got you on the Michigan State sideline, so Section 2 tuned into the Big Ten, maybe more so than ever before this weekend. Philip Michael Williams, Michigan State running back, Ballston Spa product with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. Philip, best of luck to you and the Spartans, all right?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
That's going to be a great game. That's going to be a great game. You've got Iowa, you've got Michigan State, and Philip Michael Williams is right. He just told you that they're almost a carbon copy of each other. They're big, they're physical. It's no frills in that game. This game is going to be played on the turf at Lucas Oil Stadium, but if it was outdoors, it would just be your prototypical grinded out Big Ten smash mouth football. And I'm excited to see what Canzeri does on the Iowa sideline. Look, he's run for almost 1,000 yards this year. Run for almost 1,000 yards this year. He's third team all Big Ten, and that was missing 2 3/4 games with injury. So Michigan State and Iowa both represented by Section 2 in tonight's Big Ten championship game. It is Championship Saturday. It is Capital Region Sports Saturday right here. The winter meetings, baseball. Don't you know it feels like baseball outside, everyone? 40 degrees, windy and rainy this week. Feels like baseball. Winter meetings start tomorrow. What are the Yankees' needs? Well, the first thing the Yankees need is they need a starting pitcher. They need a starting pitcher. That was their undoing last season. CC Sabathia is a wild card. Number 1, age. Number 2, health. Number 3, alcohol rehab. I hope CC gets better. I hope he is able to make that change in his life. But as a pitcher only, he's a huge question mark heading into 2016. Age, injury, durability, and now alcohol rehab. He's got some major question marks. You can't rely on CC Sabathia to be the CC Sabathia of 2009 when they won the World Series. Masahiro Tanaka, he's an injury risk. He's an injury waiting to happen. He was on the DL last year with elbow problems. He's been on the DL the year before that with elbow problems. You can't depend on him 100%. Nathan Eovaldi, hurt at the end of the year last year, did not play in the last month of the season as the Yankees made their trek towards the playoffs. Michael Pineda has been injured throughout his career. So what do the Yankees need to do? They need to go out and the Yankees are not going to spend big money. They're not going to spend big money. You saw Zach Greinke last night, got 6 years, $206 million from the Diamondbacks. David Price got 7 years for $217 from the Red Sox. The Yankees aren't in that market. They're just not. Brian Hoke, Yankees reporter, this is what the Yankees have the ability to do right now.
I see the Yankees sticking to their game plan here. They only had $12 million come off the payroll.
They only had $12 million come off the payroll. You're not getting the Zach Greinke's of the world. He's gone, but you're not getting the next guy down from him. They're not getting Johnny Cueto. They're not. Wei Yin Chen's been listed as a possibility. Jeff Samardzija has been listed as a possibility. I think even they are out of their price range. Samardzija's going to get $100 million or very close to it. The Yankees, they don't have that ability. Brian Cashman, we're going to see the mark of him as a GM this offseason. They went out, they made a great trade to get Aaron Hicks in the outfield. That's their best bet, is to find young, controllable pieces to get through trades. You want the Yankees to get younger. This is how they're going to do it. If they can get young, controllable pieces through trades, that's their best action. And Brian Hoke agrees with me. Brian Hoke, MLB.com Yankees reporter.
The trade market is the way that the Yankees are listening and leaning right now. And unless they do complete a big trade, I don't see them signing a big free agent at the winter meetings.
Exactly. The Yankees need to look for small deals to just supplement their roster. They need a starting pitcher. They need 2 starting pitchers. They could always use some more bullpen help. They've got Andrew Miller. They've got Dylan Betances. They've got a great back end of the bullpen. Can they get a good setup, another good setup guy? Those are things the Yankees need heading into the winter meetings. In 10 minutes, I'll tell you what the Mets need to get to the World Series. Again, they need one guy. The Mets need one guy, and they're instantly right back in the conversation for the World Series. That's coming in 10 minutes. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. The Siena men's basketball team, a huge win last night. Man, they blow out Manhattan. Final score 89-54. 5 players in double figures. Manhattan's a 2-time defending league champion. Siena's got 4 players averaging in double figures. And we were just talking about UAlbany. UAlbany and Siena are going to play each other next week, and they're 2 very, very different style of team. It's going to come down now to that game's going to come down to which team can impose their style of play on the other. And Jimmy Patso's team, this scoring balance is going to just be huge for them. Going to just be huge for them. They 4 players averaging in double figures. That allows a guy to have an off night. Ryan Oliver didn't play last night. Sprained thumb. That's their 6th man not playing. It allows you to have things like that happen. And Siena has made a shift in their approach. They are running a lot more. Jimmy Patsos after the game talking about that.
We are scoring in bunches, and I think Fran McCaffrey, when he came and visited, had a lot to do with it. We went over his transition. Fran and Margaret, probably Margaret, she's a better coach than he is anyways. Fran and Margaret, you've got to run on makes. Margaret, you're absolutely right. But you're going to turn the ball over. And Fran told me that. You're going to score points. In other words, yes, everyone's going to score. It's Ronald Moore, it's Franklin, it's Ublis. You spread it out. This is how you do it. You run on makes. They're going to lose Bisping because he inbounds the ball. But he warned me that we were going to have turnovers. And the good news is he's right on both parts. But we're going to keep scoring and running. And
Jimmy Patsos and his team are going to run. They're going to get out in transition. And interestingly enough, that Jimmy Patsos and Fran McCaffrey, the current coach at Iowa, the former coach at Siena, they sat down this offseason. They talked about how to run, how to move the ball, and it's paying dividends for Siena early on. They are averaging nearly 80 points a game. Nearly 80 points a game they are averaging, and they put up 89 last night. 4 players at double figures, and that balance is going to lead Siena to a good season in the MAC. They were picked preseason 5th, and so far early on, it's very early. But early on, I think they're going to beat those projections. They're going to beat those projections because of their ability to be balanced on offense and move the ball up and down the floor. It'll be very interesting next weekend in the Albany Cup to see Siena and UAlbany. UAlbany wants to slow the ball down. Siena wants to speed it up. Which team can do that better? Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number 1 volume dealer in the Capital Region, where they provide the most impeccable customer service because that's the key to any success. And Mohawk Honda, they try to do everything right all the time for their entire family of customers. Yes, they're open extended hours at all of their departments to better service you. Yes, they have over 1,000 new and pre-owned vehicles available to select from. Yes, you can shop over 10 acres of savings opportunities or online 24/7 at MohawkHonda.com. Yes, they will provide you the lowest, no-hassle price to better suit your budget. If new isn't for you, they inventory over 300 of the highest quality pre-owned vehicles, all at one low, below market value, no hassle price. So being number 1 isn't easy. But at Mohawk Honda, they treat their customers with respect and have been doing it for almost 100 years. That's 4 generations of the Heritage family serving the Capital Region. Shop their convenient Route 50 in Glenville location to join the number 1 automotive family, because at Mohawk Honda, they always go out of their way to please you. This high school sophomore does it all on the field of play and off. You'll find out who next.
It's Armin and Levac, weekdays 3 to 7.
On your home for New York sports, 104.5 The Team.
Capital Region Sports Saturday with Brady Farkas, sponsored by Mohawk Honda.
Down the final stretch we come. On the phone with us right now, Connor Hall, Maple Hill High School sophomore. And look, when we talk about guys in athletics who could do it all, we talk about versatile, we talk about guys who've got a varied up game, multiple skill sets. Well, that is this kid to a T. Maple Hill High School sophomore Connor Hall with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. Connor, on the fields of play, you're a three-sport athlete at Maple Hill, JV, soccer, basketball, and baseball, but you've also got a big-time passion for sports media, so tell us just everything that you're doing.
Good morning, Brady. It's an honor to be on the show today. Thank you for having me. So on the field, I play soccer, basketball, and baseball for my school and for also all-star team and rec teams. And on the media side, I work for 518sports.com. I also work for the Q, which I live stream Maple Hill basketball games on a branch of our high school Q network. I also founded the new sports media club at Maple Hill, and our athletic director, Dave Austin, has done a good job as the leader of that.
Connor, what made you want to get into sports media? Because when I was a sophomore in high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. My biggest concern was trying to figure out where I could get the giant cookies in the Shenandoah cafeteria.
I love writing about sports because there's always something to write about. Like, somebody's always breaking a record. Somebody's always having a career high night. And I like to relate it to, like, a TV series. Every episode's different. There's never been a sports game that's been the exact same as another one. And it's just a new player steps up every game, and that's what I love about it.
Maple Hill sophomore Connor Hall with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Connor, as a member of the sports media, you've already gotten to do quite a few cool things. Tell us some of the places that you've been and some of the things you've covered.
No, I cover a lot of the Maple Hill sectional games, which is pretty cool because during sectional time, it's a whole different atmosphere. And I also traveled to New York City for Dick's High School National Championship games in Madison Square Garden. And there I interviewed some of the biggest names in basketball, such as D'Angelo Russell, Dwayne Bacon, Ben Simmons. You know, it was just a great opportunity to really see what basketball is like outside of my little hometown.
Harmon Williams, our program director here, on air every day, 3 to 7, right here on 104.5 The Team. I hope he's listening because I want to go to things like that. I want to go to Madison Square Garden for the Dick's High School National Championship games, talk to Ben Simmons, talk to D'Angelo Russell. I want to be at things like that. So I hope Harmon's listening. And Connor, you've got an older brother on the varsity hoop team at Maple Hill. What's it like broadcasting him? Are you extra critical of him on these broadcasts?
It depends on the situation. Sometimes, other times I'm obviously supportive of him. It's just cool having a brother on the team that you're broadcasting for.
When you're in sports media, Connor, I know how important your phone is to you. So how many Twitter accounts do you run?
3. My personal account, Seahawks Sidelines, and then I have a Cowboys account.
So if you're passionate about local sports, you can follow Connor on Twitter at Seahawks Sidelines. And Connor, what do you think the ultimate career goal is? Have you given any thought to about it if you want to do this for a living?
Yeah, obviously the main goal of any young writer is to work for Sports Center, but first I'd like to attend a college for sports communication and see where that really takes me from there.
Connor Hall, Maple Hill High School sophomore, with us on Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your #1 volume dealer in the Capital Region. And Connor, you're not the only kid locally doing this. You've got a pretty big group of writers that are out there covering local sports. So what's the reception been like?
There's always been these accounts that really pop up and try and cover all the high school sports. And my buddy Dylan Roster with 518sports.com, he's really done a great job of staying committed to ours. So we have become one of the biggest Section 2 accounts to really cover all the sports. Most accounts just cover baseball or basketball, and we have a good team here that tries to cover everything.
We know you're a 3-sport athlete. We know you've got practice. So how much of the rest of your time is filled with homework versus extracurricular activities like writing?
Homework, it can take me anywhere from half an hour to 3 or 4 hours, and then once I'm done with that, I typically try to shoot in an article or two, which sometimes can have me up very late, later than I would like, but I love doing it, so it's all worth it.
Well, during the week, I get in at 6 a.m., and I stay up until about midnight watching games and stuff, so I don't get as much sleep as I would like either. How long? What time are you going to bed? Be honest here.
Typically around 11 o'clock. if there's good sport games on, then sometimes later, sometimes earlier.
Well, hey, Connor, I only get about 4.5, 5 hours of sleep a night every night anyways, so count your blessings that you're getting to bed at 11 and still getting that 6.5, 7.5 hours. So it's not quite as bad as you think. Connor Hall, Maple Hill High School sophomore with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda. Connor, hey, best of luck all you're doing on the fields of play. Now we're in hoop season, so best of luck on the court. And then best of luck to you in the booth, and then on the internet as well. You're pumping out tons of written content at C Hall Sidelines on Twitter if you're interested. Connor, best of luck. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Great story. Great story out of Section 2. So Connor Hall, be on the lookout for him. Next year he'll be on the varsity teams over at Maple Hill, and we'll see how he can balance the sports media life with being a three-sport athlete at the varsity level as well. So just a cool story. Cool story here locally. And, hey, we're in the sports media. We like it as too. So Connor Hall, Maple Hill athlete with us, Capital Region Sports Saturday. The Mets, they got to the World Series last year. They lost to the Royals. They need one guy to get back, and that one guy is Ben Zobrist. That one guy is Ben Zobrist. He is their number one target heading into the winter meetings, and for a good reason. Number one, he can do everything. He plays second base. He'll play third base. He can play the outfield. He can spell guys. Look, you're probably losing Yoenis Cespedes. You're probably losing Daniel Murphy. So Zobrist slots in a lot of time at second base, but can also do everything. He's a switch hitter. He adds to your offense. He's not going to be weak in platoon situations because he can hit left-handed. He can hit right-handed. He can play every day. Ben Zobrist is a guy that the Mets need. Anthony DiComo, MLB.com, Mets reporter. Ben Zobrist, the number one target.
So they love Zobrist's versatility. They love the fact that he can play corner outfield if need be against a tough left-handed pitcher, and you can sit Curtis Granderson or Michael Conforto. They love the fact that he can play third base, so when you want to rest David Wright and his back condition every, maybe once a week, once every few games or so, you can plug Zobrist right in there. So he fills a lot of holes. He's their number one target.
He's their number one target. He should be. Ben Zobrist is said to want 4 years at pretty big money, so I understand that some of you Met fans are leery about having a guy getting big money in an NL team until he's like 37 years old. I get that. But Ben Zobrist, you have a window right now with young pitchers. You have Matt Harvey, you have Noah Syndergaard, you have Jacob deGrom, you have Steven Matz, you have Zach Wheeler coming back. You have probably on paper the best pitching in the National League. Now go out, help that offense because it's going to take a hit without Cespedes and without Murphy. The Mets need Ben Zobrist to keep that window open here while they've still got all those young pitchers under team control and heading into their prime. Capital Region Sports Saturday brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Well, Jimmer Fredette, he's playing in the D-League. He's playing for the Westchester Knicks. He's dominating for the Westchester Knicks. He's gone for 37. He went for 26. He went for 22 he went for 26 last night, I believe. He had 22 2 games ago, had almost a triple-double. This is the Jimmer soundtrack, Section 2 fans. This is how it is supposed to be.
Jimmer will run without numbers. Pull up three is good. Fredette pushes. High floater rattles in. Jimmer off the screen. Swish. Fredette. Pull up three. Got it.
Nice steal, Jimmer.
Keeps it alive into the open floor for the layup.
Those highlights from the Westchester Knicks website. That's what it's supposed to sound like, Capital Region sports fans. Jimmer, look what happens when he plays. Jimmer can score. Jimmer can get out in transition. Jimmer had a number of assists. He had 4 steals yesterday for you haters who say he can't play defense. So Jimmer playing well for the Westchester Knicks. We wish him well as he goes on his quest to get back to the NBA. It's Capital Region Sports Saturday, brought to you by Mohawk Honda, your number one volume dealer in the Capital Region. Armin Levac back on Monday. Jets, Giants, breaking down that battle for the Big Apple. We're back next weekend, 9 to 10 a.m. It's the Albany Cup. Siena and UAlbany. We'll see you next week, Capital Region Sports Saturday.